here with Miss A.L. Maruga. And she is our author interview for today.
I am.
My daughter is down there, so everybody say hi to Haley Tappin. She's my daughter, my mini-me. She's my mini-me. But Miss A.L. Maruga writes, this is her words, not mine. Dark romance with a spicy kick. So if you're reading her books and you feel like you got kicked in the you know what, it's her fault. Because that was intentional.
It's kicked in the teeth, but sometimes
or
it's
that.
Yeah.
Or that. Because, dark romance, you never know where you're going to get kicked.
True.
Sometimes you want to yeet the book across the room. Sometimes you want to jump into the book. Sometimes you just need to cry. You never know. Sometimes you're like, I need a shower right now for several reasons. I
hope you need a shower after you're done reading my book and a cry. A little bit of both.
For several reasons.
And if you've yeeted the book, your book or your Kindle across the room, then trifecta, I've done my job.
But
right?
we are not responsible for any broken Kindles.
No,
do not take responsibility.
DMs and tell me you broke your phone or your Kindle. I can't replace it.
We take no responsibilities for any broken Kindles or whatever you're reading it on. We take no responsibilities. So, what made you decide on dark romance? Was there any particular thing?
I was a reader way before I was an author. I've always kind of written little things since I was a teenager, just kind of for myself. But I've been a reader of romance, and in particular paranormal and dark romance, since I was 15, 16 years old. So that kind of led me down this path of 20 plus years of reading consistently dark romance. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, it wasn't really dark romance, not what we would classify dark romance as now. I kind of laugh now when people say, "Oh, that was so dark." I'm like, have you read one of mine or a few of my friends' books?
No.
But I kind of
now it would be considered edgy, but not dark.
Yeah, like the first dark romance that I picked up, not knowing what it was Anne Rice's Beauty's Punishment.
Oh, yeah.
I was 15. I had no business reading that book. Like none. I had no business being allowed to buy it, never mind read it. But it kind of opened my eyes to dark romance and to romance in general. And then I kind of just, played with, what I liked, what I didn't like. I found that I really liked paranormal. So Lauren K. Hamilton became, with her Anita Blake series, became like my fan fiction. Yeah. I loved it. And, it kind of spiraled from there, from there, J.R. Ward and, a whole bunch of different ones. Sherry Lynn Kenyon, who I got to meet in person and hug.
Oh, yes.
Was crazy because I'd been reading her book since I was 17. And to be able to say that out loud to someone, I've read your book since I was 17.
I know. Insane, right? Insane. Yeah, no, J.R. Ward is like, I idolize her, but not just because she's an author, but just to be able to be that authentic.
Yeah.
But also be that iconic all at once. Like when you hear her in interviews and stuff, when she's speaking to readers and other authors and stuff, she's 100% like herself. But she's also giving you like true 100% valuable advice. Like to be that.
There's a few of them. I've been very, very lucky to have met along the way, especially in the last 18 months, some of the authors that I've read as a reader, and you're terrified to approach them because like how are they going to be? You don't want that, that image
so
that you
like down to earth.
Yeah. Like a perfect example is Selena, who wrote Bad Apple. I've read everything she's written, and I met her at my very first signing, last year in Arkansas. And I'm like working myself up, I'm with Issa from the Bookish Girls, and she's going to introduce me, and I'm working myself up, and I'm telling myself in my head, don't mess this up. Don't embarrass yourself. Like, don't
say anything weird.
You're be professional. I literally got in front of her and started crying, just ugly crying, like not even like pretty crying, like just bawling. And this poor woman, like, is this woman crazy? Like, what is the matter with her? And I'm like, you don't understand. I love you. I've read everything. I just like, and she was the loveliest person, honestly.
That probably meant the world to her, to be honest, though. You're an author. It
means the world to me when
so it probably means the world to her too. Yeah. And that's I've been reading J.R. Ward for 20 years. I would react the same way if I met J.R. Ward in person. I would become a bumbling idiot. To be completely honest, I would become a bumbling idiot. But to be honest, I think her at my level of authorship would probably react the same way to another author of her standard. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
I think it's, at the end of the day, we all began as readers. And we all have our heroes, right? We all have our favorite authors and our heroes and people that kind of led us into the industry.
Right.
If you're lucky enough to have met, one of your heroes, and that hero has given you, a step up, or has reached out, or has given you a piece of advice, or anything really. Yeah. Like, that's crazy.
Or just a bit of encouragement of, don't
That's how
stop,
I met Tara. That's how I met Tara Hodel. Yeah. Like, I binged through her books, got myself in a little bit of trouble because I was calling in sick, reading her books, and I'm never letting her go. Like, just, we can put that out loud now. She knows she's
stuck with me. That's the amazing thing. Like, I always give out 2 pieces of advice to newbie authors who ask for my advice. Not that there's a whole lot to ask me, but the ones I do, I always give out 2 pieces of advice. For one, find your crew. Find a group of authors who know what it's like, know what you're going through, but who are not afraid to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
They'll do it gently, but tell you the truth. Not ones that are out to cut you down and break your heart, but are willing to be like, hey, I know what you're going for, but I don't think you're quite reaching it in this scene. You know what I mean? Like those authors.
I think having your support system in this industry is extremely important.
Yes.
I think, finding your people, your tribe.
Yes.
But maybe sometimes, they don't want to hurt your feelings, but they know in the end they're helping.
It's for the best.
It's for the best. I think that's really important. I think it's also really important to interact and surround yourself with people that would tell you the truth, because there's a lot of people in this industry that will lie blatantly to your face.
Yes.
And then do shit to you behind your back.
My besties, I know my core group of besties will not let me put out a bad book. Yeah. I would rather them tell me the things that I don't want to hear in the moment, but I need to hear.
Yep.
Then let me put out a bad book.
Yeah. No, it's so important, especially in an industry that it's a competitive industry. Whether you think you're competing or not, I look at fellow authors as fellow authors. They're not my competition. I'm in competition with myself. There's so many readers, and readers are ferocious. Like, they read a book a day. So there's really no reason for that competition, unless you're competing with yourself. Like,
Yes.
can I do better on the next
You should
book
be
after?
improving.
You
Every
need to
book should be
improve. Yeah.
improved.
But you also need to listen to feedback, whether that be from your tribe, your PA, your beta team, your street team. If they're telling you, hey, this didn't work, or you're not seeing the results that you want, it's time to come to your tribe and say, hey, this is not working. What am I doing? Give me suggestions. What worked for you? And a
Yep.
lot of people in our industry are fantastic. Like, they're amazing at saying, hey, why don't you try this? Hey, this is someone that I used that worked really well for me, that helped me out with this. Here's a link to this.
Yep.
This kind of worked, or this ad worked best, or,
Yep.
when you share information, nobody loses.
Yep.
You're only just helping everybody rise. And unfortunately, that's not always the case, right?
If you find that somebody in your crew is gatekeeping information, they're not meant to be in your crew.
Absolutely.
But the other bit of advice that I give people is take every bit of advice with a grain of salt. Because not every bit of advice is for every author.
100%. Yeah.
Because every author has a different process, and everything that an author does is specific to that author. Everybody does their covers differently. Some do them themselves. Some people hire people just for certain aspects. Some people hire out the entire cover. Every author does things differently. So what works for one is not going to necessarily work for the other. And sometimes you have to shift with every book. Some people do every book the same. It's different for every author. Yeah. So take every bit of advice with a grain of salt, because what works for one is not going to work for the other. Sometimes it just works that way. Yeah. And you just got to roll with it.
Yeah, and everybody's got different expectations, right? Like, everybody's at their own crossroads, at their own plateau, and they either want to rise, or maybe they just want to stay where they are.
Right.
People are different. Everybody's got their own.
And everybody can handle different levels of responsibility. Yep. Like, I do everything myself. I do every aspect of my books myself. Not everybody can handle that much, because they have jobs and responsibility and kids and different levels of ability when it comes to graphics and formatting, and they just don't necessarily want to acquire those skills, or it's just not in their wheelhouse. So, so you just take in what you can, take in the advice, process the advice, figure out if it's for you or not, discard what's not for you.
Yep, absolutely.
So, but yes, so that's what we say. Take it with a grain of salt, ask around, find your crew.
Yep.
That's what we suggest. If you're wondering. If not, ignore us.
It's weird for me.
Or that, just, ignore us. Oh, whatever. So you always were a reader, always pretty much dark romance, paranormal romance, along those lines, right?
Yeah.
If you had to pick, as a reader, before you started writing, if you had to pick a book, your favorite book, I know this is a rude question. I am aware. I am fully aware.
I think for me, because my Roman Empire, for me, has always been Anne Rice and Margaret Atwood, right? Two female authors, very distinct writing styles, very distinct world building, right? completely different world, the style of world building. If I had only to pick one book, Interview with a Vampire, Anne Rice, because to this day it's a comfort read for me. I'll go back and read it over and over again. Like, my copies have deteriorated. I've had to buy new copies. I'm sour that I can't get the original covers anymore that I had from 20 plus years ago. I'll binge watch the movie over and over and over again. When they put the show up, I needed to watch the show. And so, yeah, I would probably say Anne Rice for sure as the author. And if I can only get one book, it would probably be Interview with a Vampire. And just to be clear, Lestat was my guy, because gotta be the villain, right?
You gotta.
It's gotta be the villain.
It's not a shocker to me.
No.
It's not a shocker to me. But it's a classic. It's a classic. So that it doesn't surprise me at all. When you said Anne Rice, it does not surprise me at all that that's the one you chose, just because of everything you've already said. No, it's a good one. It's a good one.
And she plays her characters really well. Like, you feel for those characters. You're like, are they the villain? Or are they not?
Yeah, they're not.
And sometimes
no
they'll find their
perfect
cross,
character.
right?
Yeah, there's no perfect character. There's a lot of villain in all of them. So it's hard to you know what I mean? Like, decipher which one you're supposed to want to win in any situation, in any give and take. You know what I mean? Like,
I think
it's hard to pick a side on anything.
I want you to root for the villain, because I root for the villain, right? So I have to make that villain as appealing as possible to you, because I want you to root for the villain. Because there's never, you're not gonna find Prince Charming in my books. He doesn't exist. Like, you're gonna want the wolf. The wolf's gonna eat you. The wolf's gonna devour you. You're not gonna want the prince. He's gonna do nothing for you.
If you didn't know, Tara's grandparents are also watching. Not that
Never mind, Granny. Have Louis.
And Tara wants to know what piece of advice you would give why choose authors.
Why choose authors? Plan your harem. Like, give each specific character in the harem a personality of their own.
I was just gonna ask you that.
It's hard. Like, my harems usually are 3 to 4. That's my comfort level. I know there's harems that are much larger, but my comfort level is 3 to 4. And I like each character to have very distinct personalities, have very distinct characteristics, have their own tics, their own things that will set them off. And I find sometimes with the larger harems, characters get lost or they become autonomous because you can't differentiate one character speaking from the other. I strive to always make sure that my characters, you'll know, even if I don't put who's speaking, you'll know who's speaking based on their personality, and that you get a good interaction of that, a good feel for them.
I have a feeling Tara's really not happy she can't be up here doing this interview with me. Do you find why choose or male female harder to write?
MF is definitely harder to write. You only have 2 characters and you really have to make them like each other at some point. With why choose, they can like each other within the harem, so it becomes a little bit, more tedious.
See, that's right? Funny too, because I write. I mean, I do have some, not wide shoes necessarily, but some. Well, I do have one wide shoes coming. Anyway, I have some multi coming. But all of my books that are out right now are just single couples, right? So I find that very easy to write, but I find it daunting to write a multi?
I think for me, because I started in white.
Exactly. And I think that's what it is. I think it's just it's our comfort zones.
Yeah, and I don't know, something about white shoes that it doesn't necessarily have to be like within the harem, or you know, swords crossing or any of that. It's just the relationships are there.
Yeah, I think it's just our
kind of build it.
I think it's just where we started, and I think it's just our comfort zone, because it's just funny that we're opposite. We started opposite. So I was just like, I feel the exact opposite of you.
Yeah, and I've only written 2 MFs, and they were both standalone. So I found those to be a little bit more tedious because there had to be a lot more one-on-one between those 2 characters.
But I make up for that by the fact that I write Motorcycle Club. Okay. So it's their relationship surrounded by all of these other characters that I fill in that gap with all of the club. Like
world building is huge, especially with secondary characters. I try to build the secondary characters so that the readers also fall in love with them.
So you have your doors.
Your
doors open.
And often they have their preferences of secondary characters that they love more than others, and those have led to other books. Like the Venom series was a spin-off of Cashberry Prep because readers loved Diego. They wanted more of Diego, and I'm like, okay, here we go.
There's this thing that we authors do. This is what I call it. I call it opening doors. Well, other authors call it this too. Where we're just walking down the hallway as we're writing our books, and we're like, oh, open a door, opening a door, opening a door, opening a door. We have no idea if we're ever going to walk in these rooms. But we are opening the doors just in case we ever need to walk in the room.
Yeah. Yeah. I see Tara's message, and I know where she's going with this. Yes, Tara. Cruel Clover and Lucky Shot is a perfect example of that. I wrote
secondary characters that came out of nowhere and messed your plot up.
Yeah. 3/4 of the book. All of a sudden a stalker appears out of nowhere. I'm like, I have no details for you. I don't know what you look like. I don't know who you are. We're going to go with it. We're going to see where these characters can go. This guy turned the whole book on me, like completely flipped it. And I was like, okay, now this has got a stalker in it. And it worked, but it was not planned. It was supposed to be, you know, Irish and Italian mafia, menage, just the 3 characters, 2 males and a female, you know, best friends. This other character came out of nowhere, and it quickly switched from a menage to a wide shoes with a stalker element to it, which was not planned.
What?
I have readers asking me, like, are we gonna...
That's the thing, though. It makes... Sometimes the characters tell you what the book needs. When you don't... As the author, you think you know what it needs sometimes. You have a plan, you think you know what it needs, and you're like, yes, I got this. And the character goes, but do you though? And then and then they're
often that's what my characters do.
I think it needs this. And you're like, what? And they're like, no, really. And you're like, but no, I had a plan. And they're like, no, listen. Yeah. And they don't give up. And they're insistent, and they won't go away from it until you have to do it. And then you realize they were right.
Yeah. Like I have readers asking me, you know, who the stalker is. They can't wait to find out who the stalker is. I'm like, me too. I don't know who he is either. He just kind of popped up into this book.
Favorite thing is when I get done writing a book and I release it, and then I have readers come to me and they're like, I seen what you did there. I love how you planned it out. And at the end, it all came together. It was amazing. It was ingenious how you planned that out. And I was like, and I'm like,
yeah, I'm a serious pantser. Like, other than creating character Bibles.
And I'm like, no idea. Like, I didn't plan that. I don't know how it came together, but I'm glad you think I did. Not going to tell you I didn't. I'm gonna let you think I planned it. Totally planned it.
Yeah, I'm just like,
good thing my characters knew, because I didn't know.
my readers kind of, I think they know, like, chaos kind of follows me a little bit with my writing
Mhm.
style. It's not that my writing style is chaotic, it's that my characters never leave. I know
Yeah.
some authors, they're done with that book, those characters are out of their heads
Oh
and they're
no.
gone. My characters
Uh,
never leave. Like, they just
no,
annoy
they're
me.
talking to me all the time.
Yeah, like their series is done, their books are done. They shouldn't be making
No.
appearances in anything else. And then all of a sudden it's like, "Hi, I'm still here. I'm gonna wreck your next book. Hi, remember
Yeah.
me?" And that's
Mine
what
are,
ends up
I
happening
have
with some of them.
dreams. They pop up in my dreams. I'll be dreaming about something random, and all of a sudden Axel will walk in the room, and I'm like, what are you doing at the grocery store down the street? Why?
Yeah.
Why are you talking to the cashier from the bank? You know what I mean? In my dream.
It
They're always there.
it pops
They're
up.
always there.
I'm a big believer that they pop up for a reason. They're
Hmm.
not done with you, you're not done with them. And if you try to force them to disappear, they just come back even harder and just mess you up. I know,
Hmm.
like for myself, when I tried to move away from a series and write something else, it led to the worst like I couldn't write. I was in just complete shambles for 3 months last year, where I literally don't think I wrote more than 5,000 words in a 60-day period, because I was trying to force myself away from a series, that those characters didn't want to leave me alone. So I ended up writing Venom just to kind of purge them out of my head. And it was probably the best thing that I ever did, because it calmed those
Right.
demons a little bit, right? It's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. I actually told an author friend of mine this, because she was talking about how she was trying to write and trying to write and trying to write, and she couldn't get the words down. And I was like, maybe you need to step away and try writing something else.
yeah.
Because this isn't the one right now.
Yeah. I find if you force it, it never works out to where you're happy with it.
Right.
And that
It
was what
seems
happened.
stiff.
Yeah, I
The
wrote the
writing always seems
first,
stiff.
yeah, like the Queen Serpent, I wrote the first 30,000 words 3 times. So I wrote 90,000 words and scrapped it, because it didn't feel authentic. It felt like it was being pushed. The characters weren't being true to themselves. I wasn't being true to those characters. So I literally scrapped it and went, okay, let's start again. Tell me your story.
Right.
Tell me where you want to go with this. This is,
Hmm.
all on you. I'm not going to direct you. Let me do what you're telling me to do. And it worked out great. Wouldn't have ended up where I thought it was going to go. Certainly, didn't think those characters had it in them, to be honest with you, especially my female character. I was kind of pissed that she was weak at the beginning, and I don't want her to be weak, because the rest of
Oh,
my female
yeah.
characters aren't weak, right?
Right.
But she needed to be weak because she needed growth, right?
Yeah.
And it helped. It
If
really
they
did.
start up here, they can't. Yeah.
Yeah, she started rock bottom, right?
Yeah.
So she had nowhere else to go except up at that point. And it worked out great. But some characters, they start up here and you're just like, let's
Hmm.
go. And they're a lot of fun to write.
Hmm.
But the characters that start at the bottom, those are the ones that I think they rip your heart out, because you're
Right.
growing with them.
Yeah. So, is there a book? Ouch. Sorry. My foot is killing me. Is there a book that you love, but that you wrote, that you love, but that you hate to market?
Hate to market in the sense that it's hard to market, or you just don't know how to market it?
Either.
Okay, Rise of a Kingdom was my third official book, but it was a prequel to the Cashbury Prep series. I loved that book. I love those characters. I'm still like, when you're in love with a character, I'm still in love with my female character. Like, she's it for me, and it helps that she's based on my mom and my mother-in-law's personalities, and
Hmm.
just how super tough and wicked they are. But that book was really hard to market because technically it was a prequel to a series that wasn't complete. It's MF, where the rest of the series is Why Choose, Dark Academia. It was arranged marriage, which I really didn't have a great, grasp on how to market.
Got you.
And it's now that series is more than complete. There's, spin-off series of that series. We're now on next gen of that original series. And that character keeps reappearing. So I love her to death because she keeps coming back and readers keep asking for more. But I still struggle to this day with how to market it because technically it's a standalone, but it's also a prequel.
That makes sense.
And not in a genre that I usually write, right? I don't
because
usually
it's so different from the actual series itself.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And it's not as dark as the series. It's kind of like it leads you by the hand, like come with me, let me lead you into darkness. It's a really good first step into my worlds. Because it kind of leads you by the hand literally into, here's some darkness. We're getting on the roller coaster. We're going that way. But it always, I struggle with it. I struggle with how to market it. And those characters are just amazing characters and I love them. But I'm just like, I wish people would, help me out here. Tell me what you love about this book.
Yeah. See, mine, by the way, Tara's grandma, if you like bikers, you let Tara know. She'll hook you up with my books. Anyway, mine was I wrote one rom-com.
Yeah.
Called On the Clock. I don't write rom-coms. I write spicy shifter romance about bikers. I don't write rom-coms. But I saw one interaction on TikTok between two creators. It was a duet and it was so adorable. And I was like, oh my God, that would be an amazing rom-com, meet cute. So I wrote an entire novella about this one interaction on TikTok, right? And it's a great book. It's so cute and it's spicy. I don't know how to market a rom-com.
Yeah, like if I told my readers tomorrow, hey, I wrote a rom-com, they'd be like, are you okay?
I know.
Is something wrong with you?
My readers are like, nobody turns into an animal? There's no bikers in sight? Like, they're like, what? Huh? Yeah. And then there are other people that's where they know me from, is the rom-com. So they pick up my other books and they're like, what? Bikers? Shifters? You know what I mean? So nobody buys that book because I don't know how to market it.
Yeah, it's hard, right? Especially when you love the characters. You get sad. You're like, they're my children. Please love them.
There's a dog in there that gets rescued and it's my dog. Because my dog is a rescue. It's literally my dog. I named it after my dog. I described him just like my dog. He's my dog. You know what I mean? So it's very close to my heart.
Yeah.
But I can't, like, I don't know. Someday I will figure it out and someday I'll take all of the spice out of it and we'll turn it into a Hallmark movie. Someday. But for right now, I don't know how. I don't know how to do it.
Netflix. That way you don't have to take the spice out of it.
True. Maybe Netflix. Oh no. We did something. We did something with Tara's grandma.
I know, I'm reading it. I'm going, please. I don't think your grandma should be reading my book.
Listen, my grandma would be all about our books. All right, my grandma, she's gone. But she would have been all about our books. She smacked her husband upside the head with one of those 5-pound phones because he came home drunk and wouldn't stop messing with her. He had to go to the hospital. His ear was bleeding, but she had told him, don't come home messing with me when you're drunk. So That was my grandma. She also raised 3 bikers, so that was my grandma. But anyway, back to your books. So if somebody were to want to start reading your books, like me, because I generally don't read dark romance, but I do, but I don't. I do, but I'm not like a hardcore like dark romance reader. So like I read it, but I read a lot of different genres. So if I were to start reading your books, which book do I start with?
Hi, Mama D. I miss you.
Yes, hi.
Where to start? Cashbury Prep would be a good one, I think.
Okay.
Just because dark academia, definitely a revenge plot. I write enemies to lovers in every book. Like it's a must.
Like enemies to lovers.
You'll never get a book from me that isn't an enemies to lovers. I
like reading enemies to lovers, but I write friends to lovers more often. I don't know why.
It's just the way your brain is wired. Mine always has to have an issue there. There always has to be like some form of
somehow it in a lot of my books are like brother's best friend.
I'm just starting to write those, but still with the enemies to lovers.
She shushed us. We gotta be quiet. Tara's grandma shushed us.
Oh no, Tara, why would you give her that book?
Sorry.
Like, the shot is like nothing but
Interview's done. Tara's grandma has shushed us.
Sorry, Grandma, in advance. She's a cam girl that does some spice, man.
Listen, we don't need to apologize. Grandma's probably lived her life. How do you know? She probably could tell us some stories. I have faith in Tara's grandma. Okay. Listen, Tara was named Tara. That means somewhere down the family line, she had to get that name, right?
Is there a rule about being named Tara?
Taras are wild. Coming from somebody named Tara, we don't get this name for no reason.
Tara, were you named because you were wild?
It's in the genes. It's in the genes. And she used to bartend at a biker bar and had. I knew it.
She's good then.
I knew it.
She'll be fine.
I need to talk to Grandma. I need Grandma's number. Seriously, I need Grandma. Tara, I'm calling you later.
Hush. Call up here.
Me and Tara's grandma are gonna have a meeting. Because
I'll give you some inspiration for your books.
I need stories. Any Hoosier. Okay, so Cadbury Prep. Got it. Cadbury Prep is where I'm starting.
I think because it gives you a good indication of the beginning of darkness for me.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of leads you, each book gets darker, right?
You want to boil the frog. You don't want to toss me into the slowly boil. You don't
want. And it's got like this great family of females. Like they're just they're just kick-ass females. They're they're the kind of females that if you went for them, be prepared for them to go for your juggler.
Yes,
they're just badass females. And my main female from the standalone, from the prequel, is the grandmother. So you get her, the prequel, you get the grandmother's story, and she's badass, and then you get her granddaughter's story, and she raised this girl. So this girl
Stella and Jackson?
Yeah.
Oh, her name's Stella. I mean, that alone. That alone. Stella. Yes, that alone.
Yeah. She's honestly, she's one of my favorite characters. Stella's just, she's everything you want to be as a woman. She's just tough and just refuses to cower and refuses to just sit in her fate. Like, no, she's like, forget it. You think that this is my destiny?
She's got a stubborn streak.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why Tara's are named Tara. It was stubborn streak. Tell us we can't. See what happens.
Yeah.
Tell us we can't. Tell us we can't. And you, yeah. Can Stella tell Nova to shut up so Georgia
Oh my
can talk?
God. Stella and Nova would be hilarious because there's no way Stella would be able to put up with Nova's crazy. Stella would have her like confined somewhere so fast. Like it would be just like, smarten up, girl.
So,
Although it would be cool to see Mr. Rambaldi and Stella, like her watching him, in his underpants, walking around with a raccoon. Like I could just picture what a Manhattan queen would, look like, walking around watching that going, what is happening here?
So if you were in your world, okay, if you were able to take yourself and put yourself in one of your worlds and take the place of any character,
Right now,
he, she, they.
Dina.
Okay.
Dina from the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood series, so Be My Sinner's the first book. It's very much Handmaiden's Tale meets Eyes Wide Shut, and then throw nothing but chaos in there between it. So you have a dystopian world where women have no power, none at all.
Oh,
they
goodness.
are prizes. And it's run by a secret society, a religious secret society that has their own, intentions and purposes. And, there's a class system. It's very crazy in terms of that. And again, this is a woman that will not go blindly to her fate.
Right.
And she doesn't go blindly to her fate because she has nothing left to lose. She's literally got, her whole family has been unalived by
so what are they going to take from her at this
They have
point,
nothing left to take from her. And she comes to the realization that people that she grew up with, that she thought would support her, are part of the problem. They're part of what has happened to her. And so, she takes it upon herself to kind of change the balance of fate. So if I kind of leave you with something, is what would happen if they didn't know it was a woman? What if they never ever imagined it was a woman? What if a serial killer was on the loose, killing high-ranking members of this society and turning the tables for women, but they thought it was a man the whole entire time because it couldn't possibly be a woman.
Women aren't capable of these things.
But men never remember that, and especially in this
women would be too emotional for that.
Right. They'd be too weak. They'd be too emotional. They wouldn't be able to get their hands on the necessary items required. They wouldn't be able to pull off such a farce. They wouldn't be deadly enough. They wouldn't be ruthless enough. Well, what if they were? You get Dina from the Brotherhood. She's unapologetic about being a serial unaliver. She's unapologetic about, ending any man's life that has laid a hand on a woman. She's out there seeking vengeance.
That's my crush.
For herself, but for women in general.
That's my crush. She's the president of the female motorcycle club in my books. She don't care who you are or what you are. If you touch one of her girls, she's going to make it painful. And she's not going to care one bit. She's not going to lose one wink of sleep over.
That's Dina. Like, she doesn't care. She's not here for your opinion. She's not here for your approval. Nope. She's here to get, her priorities done. Like, she has a plan. This is what she's doing. And if it takes her life, then it takes her life kind of, doing it. But she's determined. She's determined to turn the tides, right? Yeah.
Well, that's a good character to Yeah, definitely.
It's a dark book. Oh my God, there's like 72 trigger warnings in that book. The darkness level is pitch black. Why choose with MM
Yeah,
and voice crossing?
but the all of the but there's so much to it though. Just like I haven't even read it, but the way that you just described it, just there's so much to that. Just the story itself, but the implications to it.
Yeah, and it's cool because the harem itself, like one of the males is her assigned guard, so he's supposed to keep her under lock and key. He's not supposed to, be helping her on a killing spree. He's certainly not supposed to fall in love with her. So you have that forbidden love aspect. He's much older than her too, which then you have your age gap in there, and he would literally implode the world for her. Like there is nothing he wouldn't do for her. And then you have the other two male characters who she grew up with, that, and for
Right.
her it was so destabilizing and so shocking to see the role that they played within this society that would literally make her a captive, make her, a prize.
Right.
So, it starts out in a way that you're like, oh, okay, who's making it out? And maybe they don't make it all out.
Maybe they do. Who knows?
Who knows?
That's definitely the, but that's
They
but
certainly
that's the
don't make
amazing
it out
thing.
without scars and unscathed. I can tell you that for
Right.
sure.
But that's the good thing about when it comes to edgier romance or dark romance, when it comes to stories like that, there's a level of suspense that you don't necessarily get from, and I'm not cutting down clean romance or like Hallmark romance or some of those level, or like rom-coms or anything like that. I'm not. But there is a level of suspense that you get when it comes to edgy or dark romance, because you don't know.
Yeah.
Anybody can get it, is what I'm saying. You don't necessarily know, especially when it comes to like why choose or multiples. You don't know how many of those are going to make it.
Yeah, I think it's just, apples and oranges, right? Like they're
Yeah.
very different styles of writing.
And
They're
if you
very
are
different worlds.
Yeah, and if you are into it for not so much the romance, or if you're into it for an equal amount of romance plus suspense and gritty and darkness and edge of your seat, that brings a lot to the table. You know what I mean? Yeah.
There's always an element of suspense with everything that I write. I'm very plot based. Like there's lots of very heavy spice, very, very heavy spice. And I do a lot of research on that spice. So try and make it as accurate as possible.
Research.
But there's always plot.
Choreography is important.
Learning is important. I am sure there's an FBI agent out there. Hi, FBI agent. Hi, Mom, who goes through my chat history and goes, what is this woman doing? Like, why is she searching this, right? And
we like to be as authentic as possible for our readers.
I do, yeah. And the book that Tara just gave her grandma had lots and lots of research on, what a cam girl does and what happens during a cam show and all that stuff. And I wanted to make it as authentic as possible. So,
listen, if grandma orders a signed copy, just let me know. I will send her a sticker that says, "This is not smut. This is a training manual for my spouse."
I will gladly give grandma a signed copy of Lucky Shot if she loves it.
And I will definitely send her a sticker. I'm being 100% serious.
along with some Lucky Charms.
I will even send her a squish bean. I'm not even playing.
Aw. I love the peaches too. Have you seen the peaches?
Have you seen the nipples?
Yes, I have a few of those to send to readers in my book boxes. I love those. I love swag.
We just made her day. We're not playing, Grandma. We're not playing. We just adopted you, just so you know. You're now my grandma. I don't have any grandmas left, so you're now my grandma. You have 2 Taras now.
Aw, we just made her days. Nice.
But yeah, so that's now on my reading list. Stella and Jackson's books now on my reading list. Rise of a Kingdom is what it's called, guys. If you want to start her books, you need to get Rise of a Kingdom. That's where you start.
If you ever wanted to set a man's car on fire because he lied to you, you're gonna love Stella.
By the way, my spouse is a mechanic. My previous spouse was a mechanic. That means I've been with mechanics since I was 17 years old. If you ever need to know anything about how to screw up a car,
you're my girl.
I got stories, because they used to come home laughing about, guess what so and so did to her husband's car today. Listen, I got all kinds of stories. Yes, we multiply sometimes, Grandma. Yes, so that's where you need to start. Rise of a Kingdom. I'm excited. I'm definitely gonna get that. And so you would pick that character. Now, is there a character you would absolutely never in 100 years want to be?
I don't want to be a female character or male character.
It don't matter, any character.
I definitely don't want to be my 2 characters that I'm writing right now in Lethal Asylum. They are schizophrenic and asylum patients. And I feel like, I already have a little bit of voices in my head.
I was just going to say, that's why I leaned forward. I was like,
I already have, I've done a lot of research for them, and I was pretty sure that I had already written the most unhinged characters I was ever going to write with the Brotherhood. And then I started writing Dark Dare, and I was like, okay, these guys are going to be worse. Okay, we can do this. And then I kind of have stopped writing Dark Dare to move on to Lethal Asylum because it has to come out first. It has to go to editing first. And I'm like, oh my God, I was so wrong. Like, Brotherhood and Dark Dare combined would not equal Ren and Sebastian. Like, they're so messed, and they're twins. So I'm like, you're so messed up. How are you in my head? I want these characters to, for sure be ones that leave my brain after this book is
She's
done.
Like, get out! Get out!
They're terrifying. Tara and I have gone over some of the things that one of them says, and he's got a real thing about nursery rhymes, and I'm like, oh my God, Tara, my whole childhood I'm scarring myself. It's just bad. It's just
I have this thing about clowns.
You don't read this book. Don't read this book. Don't. It's just, it scares me. Writing it scares me, and I'm like, I should take a step back for a second and just rethink that. And then I'm like, no, we're just going to go. Let's just go with it.
I have this thing about clowns. And
don't read. If you have a thing about clowns, no one should read this book if you have a thing about clowns, because it's going to mess you up.
This is normally when it comes to trigger warnings, I'm not one of those people that I'm a firm believer in trigger warnings. Don't get me wrong. Firm believer. Okay. But I'm not one of those people this author forgot this particular trigger warning, cancel them. I'm not one of those authors, right? Because I do understand sometimes it's very difficult to make sure that you remember and hit every single trigger warning. So I'm usually one of those authors that's if an author forgot a trigger warning, just let them know so they can update the list. I'm one of those authors, right? But when I pick up a book and there's a clown in it, I become one of those other readers. I become one of the, this author didn't tell me there's a clown.
Yeah, no. The clown will be one of the very first triggers that I put down for this book. You know, obviously they're not clowns now because they're in an insane asylum, but you can tell from when the cover is released, you'll be able to tell quite quickly, you know, that there is that element, and they are serial killers. So
I knew when you said nursery rhymes. That's why I brought up clowns. I knew by the nursery rhymes.
I honestly, like, I hadn't planned it that way. It just, I hadn't planned the nursery rhymes. I had planned the clowns, because I knew that they were part of, you know, a traveling circus kind of thing. But yeah,
listen. I'm not saying all clowns are weird and creepy. I'm just saying there's something weird about a lot of clowns.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near these two. I certainly wouldn't want to be alone with them or in a dark place with them. Like, they're going to make the one from...
My mom has a picture of me. One of these days I will find this picture and I will post it on TikTok for you guys. There is a picture of me. I was 3 years old. And I'm at a fair. And I'm standing there. And I think I had like a snow cone or something. And I was standing there. And all around me, there are 3 clowns standing around me. And I'm bawling my eyes out. My mom took a picture.
Yeah.
I knew then.
What's that movie with the clown that kind of lures you into the spirit? Okay, so these guys would give it nightmare.
You know how I knew? I knew right away what movie you were talking about. You know why? My best friend, when I was 15 years old, thought this was fun because she knew how I felt about clowns. She was like, "Tara, watch this movie with me." Okay? She was my best friend. Thought I could trust her. Okay, so her room was on the 2nd floor. So we were up in her room. 1st floor, completely dark. The only place there was a bathroom was on the 1st floor. You see where I'm going with this, right? Yeah, guess what movie it was? I had to use the bathroom in the middle of the night.
I've never watched that movie. I might write like thrillers with horror in it. But I'm a big scaredy cat. I literally, you know, will cry through most, you know, horror movies. My daughter convinced me to watch The Woman in Black, and I had to have both dogs sleep with me and was paranoid, you know, for days. Like, just, I was like, come with me to the washroom, sit with mom. Like, don't, I'm a big scaredy cat.
That's the only scary movie that's ever scared me, and it's because of the clown. Now, most scary movies, I laugh through the scary movies, but then later on, when the house is dark, I freak myself out.
Yeah, you won't get me to watch it. My kids want me to watch Sinners is in the theater, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Like, can you imagine the screams that I will let out in the theater?
Oh, yeah. See, I just don't watch them.
It'll embarrass me. Like, no.
I just don't watch them because later I'm going to freak myself out. And I know that. So I'm like, I can't watch scary movies because I won't be able to walk through the house later when I have to pee. So can't do it.
Yeah. I like the concepts. But I'm a big chicken. Like,
yeah, no, sorry. Can't do it. We'll have to sleep with every light in the house on. Can't do it.
And my husband's like, you know, how do you write this stuff? And I'm like, I don't know.
That's different. It's different. But it's not different for clowns. Sorry, guys. Not different. I know, I'm being a big baby. I know it, but it's not different. And Tara, I did see your comment about the clown tattoo. That's different. That's a tattoo. I'm okay with that. It's the actual clowns that I have a problem with. I don't know. It's like a snake. A snake tattoo I'm fine with. It's the actual snakes I have an issue with. Just saying. It's different.
I'm not watching that, Tara. I'll be on the phone with you all night because I'll just won't sleep. So
she will be yelling at you.
Not watching that.
Okay. Anywho, sure. Past the clowns. Past the clowns. I'm gonna be freaked out later because I just talked about clowns. I'm gonna have clown dreams. Clown dreams. Anyway, don't even get me started on the Wiggles.
You don't even want me to tell you the rest of it. Like, trust me, clowns are probably bad enough for you. If I add in the rest, you're not gonna sleep for a week.
The rest I can probably handle. It's just seriously my aversion to clowns is that bad. Okay. So if there was one curse you could place on any character.
Oh, a curse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's already procreated because I got next gen happening. Right? There is a particular character, my readers know who it is. He should not procreate. He already has. We know because they've already appeared at the end of Venom. So we know next gen is coming. My curse would have been that he should never procreate. Like
he should never procreate.
Never. But it's a little too late because he's already gone ahead and jumped the gun and done it, right?
He should never procreate.
Should never procreate. Definitely two of them. For sure, Diego shouldn't have procreated. But
I love how
and
I love how we're talking about this as if we didn't create the character.
Listen, okay, like I knew Diego was going to procreate because that was part of getting it to the second, because it's a duet. I knew where it was going, but in that second book, in the duet, Carter from my first series makes another appearance. And that's when you realize the things that he's done kind of behind my back too. And I'm like, rude. I'm like, there are twins? Where the hell did the twins come from, Carter?
When did you do this?
So I've literally kind of just passed those. They're going to be next gen. And Tara's character gets stuck with them. Like, one of Tara's next gen. I pray for this girl. I will pray for this girl because she is going to have to deal with those twins whose dad should never have procreated, like ever. And on top of it, they're going to get the father-in-law of all father-in-laws from Tara. So.
All right, so we're going to do some quick this or that questions, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Poor Tara couldn't jump up here. I think she had some FOMO. That's okay. You hung out with our grandma. All right. A quiet night in or a wild night out?
Quiet night in.
Comfortable couch or thrilling adventure?
Couch. Forget the adventure. I can make it up in my head.
I know, right? Someone who makes you laugh or someone who makes you think?
Someone who makes me think. The laughter will come, but
yeah. Romantic date night or fun night with friends?
Fun night with friends.
A healthy life or a fun life?
I'd like to say both, but come on.
Healthy's not fun.
Healthy's overrated and unachievable at this point.
Here's one every author can relate to: a job you love or a job that pays well.
Well, I'm doing both right now. So.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. We have to do both. We can't even answer that one because we got to do both. No, okay.
Like it'd be lovely if you could wrap it into, both into one, but it just doesn't
right. A bad haircut or a bad tattoo?
Oh, bad tattoo. Which would I rather have? A bad haircut.
Bad haircut. It grows back. It grows back. Bad tattoo is forever. Having to do a stand-up routine or having to write a novel?
I'd rather do. Depends on what part of the writing we're at. Are we at editing?
I know, right?
Because if we're at editing, I'm gonna do a stand-up routine instead.
Are we writing the blurb? Because I will procrastinate and do anything to not write the blurb.
Nothing will make me more miserable than me having to write the blurb. I'm like, I don't know what this story's about, and I can only write the blurb after I'm done. So, yeah, no.
Writing the blurb, I can write you a whole book. I can't write you a paragraph. Okay?
That's when you lean on your tribe. Help me out here. Too. Here's what the book is about.
Tell me what the story is. I don't know what the story is. Having to sing opera or having to play an instrument?
I'd rather sing opera. I can't play anything except the piano. So I'd rather sing
either. Opera. So what would you guys like me to do?
I'm going to sound like a dying donkey while I sing that opera, but...
What would entertain you guys the most? Getting stuck in an elevator or having to watch a play?
I'd rather watch a play. I've done the stuck in an elevator.
I would be
on the 54th floor of a building down in Toronto, a high rise, for 3 hours while pregnant. I would never recommend doing it again.
Here's a question. Would you guys rather watch a play or watch me stuck in an elevator? Because both would be entertaining. Just... A life focused on family or a life focused on personal growth?
Family. I'll always choose family.
The first half of my life focused on family. Second half of my life focused on personal growth.
I'm at that point too because my kids are older. My kids are in their
grown.
20s. So, yeah, it's me.
Now it's about me. Yeah.
I'm also, 45. So I'm menopausal, full of rage. Hormones are all over the place, and just
Same.
Come at me, bro.
Same. I'm and
yeah, I'm just ready to go any moment. Put me in.
I was mad at my spouse yesterday. It was 90 degrees here, and I was walking around in a tank top and shorts, and I was so hot because I was having hot flashes and stuff. And he was laying on the couch in a t-shirt and jeans, and I was so mad at him, and I was like, how are you not hot? And he's like, I have to wear pants in full boots in a hot shop that has no air conditioning all day, every day. I'm used to the heat. And I'm like, well, that's rude. Because I was just so hot, sweating.
Yeah, I was a person who was always cold before, and then menopause started at 42, and I'm just I'm always hot. I'm in Canada.
I'm 42.
And I'm telling you, I will go outside in minus 20 degree weather and be like, why is it so freaking hot in here? Windows are all open in my car as we're driving down the highway in a blizzard. And I'm like, it's hot in here. Why is it so hot in here?
My driver window won't roll down right now. The motor went out in the window. And I keep yelling at my spouse to fix the motor because I'm like, I need my window to be able to roll down. And he's like, you have 3 other windows and a sunroof. I'm like, you don't understand. I need the cross breeze. I have air, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need.
I honestly pity the person that gets in my way when I'm having a hot flash.
Exactly.
You roll right over them. Like, I look like a linebacker in the NFL. You're going down. Like, just get the hell away from me.
About a week ago, I got out of the shower. You know how when you take a shower when you're really cold, you're cold to the bone, and you take a shower to warm up, but then a hot flash hits, right?
And you're soaked again.
Hot. You're so hot, right? Towel cannot touch you. Nothing can touch you in that moment, right? So I opened the bathroom door because I had to let the steam out, right? The steam has to leave this room right now. And the fan was not ventilating fast enough. So I opened the bathroom door. I did not care who was in the house. I did not care. And I am like in the bathroom, like just air. I need air. My poor son. The bathroom door was open. He didn't know anyone was in there. I'm pretty sure he's scarred for life. But I didn't care in that moment because I was in the middle of a hot flash. And maybe you need to yell down the hallway to see if anyone's in the bathroom. That's your fault, not mine. I was in the middle of a hot flash. Just saying, mom's in perimenopause. I don't care if you're going through trauma right now. I don't. I'll care in a few years.
Wherever I am, just
or not.
Be aware that if I'm gonna have a hot flash, clothes are coming off because just the way it is.
You're in your 20s. If you don't want to see it, maybe it's time to get your own place. Love you, but
yeah.
Here we are. Anyway, now that we've went on our clown sidebar, on our menopause sidebar.
Scarring
Listen.
Sidebar.
Listen, this is how the Tarta interviews go. Okay? We wing things. We do talk about books. We talked about books most of the time. Most of the time. And this is how they go. We wing it. We talk off the cuff about random things. We swing back around to books. So that's what we're doing here. How do we find your books?
All of them are on Amazon. They're the paperbacks are also on Barnes and Nobles, Indigo, pretty much everywhere across Europe and US and Canada. I have a link tree. You can find me on Instagram at AL author. You can find me at TikTok. I have a Facebook group called AL Maruga's Queen's Lair. Pretty much everywhere.
And she specializes with dark romance with a spicy kick. Like I said, you don't know where you're going to get kicked or how you're going to get kicked or whatever. You could end up crying or yeeting the book or your Kindle or yourself. You could end up needing a shower, whatever. We don't know. But that's what to expect.
Yep. That's what morally gray to pitch black characters that are not redeemable and are unapologetic about it.
Yeah. So if that's what you're looking for, look her up. But so we're gonna wrap this up. Look her up. Definitely look her up. And since I don't really market myself ever during these things, I should probably do that. I am tstappin. I write spicy shifter romance about bikers. So if that's your thing, you can look me up. I'm around. I'm around here or there. And that one measly rom-com that I don't know how to market. that one book.
With a dog.
But Yeah, it's got a dog in it. Uh, yeah, but thanks for joining me. And this will be on the YouTube channel probably within a week or so. I will let you know when it's on there.
Thank you for
But
having
yeah,
me.
thanks for joining us.
This was a lot of fun.
We'll do it again.
We'll get Tara and her grandma on here with us.
Yeah, we'll get Tara and our grandma over here next time. We'll ask her about the book, what she liked. We'll interview Grandma next time.
Grandma, if you're still on here, I want to know what you thought about the cam scenes. For sure, cam scenes.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me, and you have a good night.
You too. Bye, guys. Thanks for having me.
Bye.